In her book Queer Phenomenology, Sara Ahmed uses phenomenology to explore how bodies, desires, and social lives are shaped by the ways we are oriented in the world. Orientation is not neutral or accidental. It is formed through repeated actions, social expectations, and institutional pressures. Certain paths are made to feel natural or straight, while others are marginalized or seen as crooked. Ahmed's approach, which she calls queer phenomenology, examines what it means to be oriented or disoriented in a world structured by invisible lines of power. She introduces the idea of orientation as central to understanding how we inhabit the world. Being oriented means knowing your bearings and being directed towards certain objects, people, or spaces that guide you, such as landmarks or familiar signs. She extends this to sexual orientation, explaining that it is not just about desire but also about how bodies live in space and with whom they share it. Bodies are shaped through tending toward reachable objects, and these habitual orientations form the patterns of everyday life. She considers how objects in phenomenology, like Husserl's writing table, function as orientation devices, showing the direction of thought while relegating other things to the background. This idea allows her to create a queer phenomenology by looking at the angles of attention and reading toward objects or lives often ignored. She also examines how objects and spaces carry histories and labor that are often invisible. Drawing marks, she explains that objects are historical products, not naturally given, and their value is often perceived as inherent, erasing the work behind them. In philosophy, the orientation toward the writing table depends on hidden domestic labor, usually performed by women, which clears the space for philosophical work. This creates a gendered division of labor, with masculine spaces at the forefront and feminine care relegated to the background. Similarly, bodies develop capacities and shapes through repeated actions. A writer develops a posture through repeated writing, just as gendered bodies are shaped by social expectations and the repetitive performance of roles, showing how orientation shapes what we can do. Sexual orientation is a spatial and social alignment rather than simply an identity. Ahmed explains that heterosexuality is often understood as a straight line, while queer desires are seen as deviations. Using Merleau-Ponty's idea of the body straightening to act in the world, she suggests that heterosexuality functions as a straightening device, aligning sex, gender, and desire to feel socially correct. Psychoanalytic attempts to normalize queer desires, such as Freud's reinterpretation of a lesbian woman's desire as frustrated heterosexuality, reveal the social pressures to reproduce heterosexual futures. Ahmed introduces the idea of the contingent lesbian, a woman whose sexual orientation arises through proximity to other women, reclaiming the term from its heterosexist history. This highlights that becoming queer can be an act of reorientation, moving sideways to create new connections despite societal hostility. She also considers race and the social construction of the Orient. The West defines itself against the Orient, creating a hierarchy that positions the West as a norm and the Orient as exotic and subordinate. Whiteness operates normally as a social and bodily orientation, reproduced through family and institutions. To pass as white requires adopting a set of unconscious habits that allow the body to move comfortably through spaces designed for whiteness. Those who are not white become hypervisible, marked as out of place. Mixed race individuals experience a melancholic relationship to whiteness, desiring what is proximate yet unreachable. But this distance can become a political gift, allowing for reorientation toward alternative histories and collective action against racism. Ahmed concludes the book by emphasizing the value of disorientation. Being disoriented can be unsettling, but also opens possibilities for new directions and ways of living. Queer objects resist being contained by social norms, revealing the work that sustains the coherence of the world. Ahmed's queer phenomenology supports those whose lives appear oblique or out of place, valuing ways of being that do not follow straight lines and finding hope in unexpected forms of resistance that emerge when norms are disrupted.